Hey everybody, welcome. This is Q&A with Coach MJ number 31. Thanks so much for watching, sending in your questions, because I'm here to help you be a better athlete. So the first question this week comes from Nora, and actually, I shouldn't say that. I actually got this question from 3 people in the last 2 weeks, given that, the Chicago Marathon's coming up, and not just Chicago, but lots of fall marathons are coming up. But the question is, what do you think about splitting the long run up, say half in the morning and half in the afternoon? So what she means is if she has to do her 18 miler, is it okay to do 9 in the morning, go about your day, and then do 9 in the afternoon or the evening? And there's lots of different schools of thought on that. And I do have my opinion. Can you do it? Sure. And it's better than not doing the run, or say I only have time to do 9 in the morning and then skipping the other 9. So it's better than that. It also helps if you are, say, a slower runner. So if you're going to do an 18 or 20 miler and it's going to take you over 3 hours, yeah, you're probably going to be able to prevent more injury because you're running super fatigued once you get to that 3 hour mark. So you can do it. I would say if you're going to do it, you've got to plan backwards, because you don't want to you don't want to split up every single long run that you have. So if you're doing a traditional, build, step back, build, step back, one of each of those 2 builds needs to be a solid run, a long run, not interrupted. A couple things with interrupting the run. If you do half in the morning, half in the afternoon, make sure in that between time that you're actually letting your body recover. So say sitting around going to have lunch or whatever, that's great. If you're going to work, that's great if you have like a desk job. But if you're going to go and do housework, say mow the lawn and be active and be on your feet, probably not going to help you a whole lot. You really want to try and give your body that chance to recover if you're going to do that. The other thing is, my mind, it's a mental thing once it hits that 3 hour mark. And you don't get to split up your marathon, so why would you split up your long runs? So I don't think it's the ideal situation unless you're a slower runner, say, I don't know, maybe 12-minute miles or slower, where you're 18 and 20 miles. Anything over 3 hours for a long run is going to be super long, and I think will benefit you by splitting up some of those runs. I wouldn't split all of those up. But that is a great question, Nora. Thanks so much for asking, and I'm looking forward to watching you crush the marathon this year. So the next question is from Keith, and how do you care for or wash your dry fit clothes? I get this question a lot because any clothing that has that wicking, the dry fit, the moisture wicking properties, tends to hang on to odor. And you don't want to, there's a couple things. I use a gentle detergent. They do have products specifically for this, like Sport Wash and some other things that are specifically for your dry fit clothing, but they're not super cheap. So what I usually do is a very gentle detergent, a natural gentle detergent, but I'll put vinegar in the bleach dispenser to get out the stink. That generally helps. And I will let them soak too. So once I put them in the wash with the detergent, I put the vinegar in the bleach dispenser and I'll let that soak for at least an hour. Let all that stink get out, right? And then go ahead and rinse it. Never use any kind of fabric softener, whether it be liquid or sheets. And the reason I don't use sheets is I don't even put my dry fit clothes in the dryer. I hang them all up. It tends to give them a longer life. So that's another great question. And our last one, here we go with another running question. It is marathon season. How much is too much endurance running? And this was a loaded question. Kathy, sorry, you asked a ton of questions within that one, and I can't get to all of that. But so if she put in that, I don't know, it was her or husband was going to do a marathon on 9:24, a half marathon on 10:15, and then an ultra on 10:29. That's a lot of running. That's a lot of running. In the ultra, I don't know if it was a 30 mile or a 50 mile or a 100 mile. I don't really know. I don't know if that's your first ultra. So there's a lot of questions. The more experienced of a runner that you are, the more you can get away with those kinds of things. The other thing is if I would pick an A goal out of those 3 races. And if my ultimate goal is that ultra, then I'm treating that marathon as a training run and not a run for a PR. Does that make sense? Because if you go out, that's only, 5 weeks between events. Your general rule of thumb, it takes a day per mile that you run for recovery. So if you're doing a marathon and that's 26 miles, it takes you 26 days to recover. Technically, there's some people recover more quickly, some don't. But doing that way, doing 5 weeks and a marathon, then you're doing a half marathon, which you still want to get some training in. I get it. And then you want to do an ultra. If you're trying to PR all through the 3 of those races, you are setting yourself up for injury. So if you have other questions on that, I'm happy to answer them. It's just that there was a ton of questions in that one message that you sent me. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and sending your questions. Please keep them coming, and I'll see you next time.